The enemy bleeding on my doorstep. The street was too quiet for midnight. My steps echoed against the pavement as I walked home from work. The cold night air brushed my cheeks, exhaustion hanging from my shoulders like a heavy backpack. My phone was dead, my bag felt lighter than my patience. All I wanted was a shower, a blanket, and silence. But the universe has always had other plans. A shadow moved near the gate of my house. At first I thought it was another stray dog or maybe a drunk neighbor slumped over the pavement. But then the silhouette shifted, broad shoulders, familiar posture, that stubborn straight back, even while hurt. My breath froze. Cook? He was sitting on the ground, leaning against the metal gate, a hand pressed to his side, fingers wet with something dark. Blood. His hoodie was torn at his sleeve. Black hair messy like he had fought a storm. His jaw was tight, eyes half-lidded but sharp. Even in pain, he somehow looked like he was glaring at the world. But when he looked up and saw me, that glass sharpened into something else, hatred laced with fire mixed with something darker, unreadable, hunger, anger, longing. I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't trust myself to guess. What are you doing here? I whispered, stepping closer, voice trembling despite myself. He scoffed weakly. Don't flatter yourself. I wasn't looking for you. Same tongue, same venom, same crook. The middle boy, the same boy I slapped in the middle of the crowded market months ago, after he cornered me, grabbed my wrist, whispered things he shouldn't have. The world froze on that day when my palm met his cheek, and since then our cold war had never ended. Yet here he was, on my doorstep bleeding. I hovered in front of him, hand shaking. You're hurt. No shit, he muttered, wincing as he tried to stand. His leg buckled. He leaned back heavily, breathing hard. Cook, stop, don't move. Why, you scared? I stain your perfect floor. He hissed. This man would rather choke than accept help. I inhaled sharply, steadying myself. Get up, I'm taking you inside. No, he gritted his teeth, eyes burning. I don't need your pity. It's not pity, you're bleeding. And let me bleed. My chest tightened. You're being ridiculous. He laughed, a hoarse, broken sound. You are the last person I had ever wanted to owe anything to. His words stung, but his voice was weak and his body was collapsing, no matter how hard he fought it. I stepped forward and grabbed his arm. He jerked away violently. Don't touch me. I stared at him, at the cracked shell of anger layered over pain, at the boy I hated, who hated me back, but who now trembled and hid it behind his teeth. You can hit me tomorrow, I said quietly. Tonight you are not dying on my doorstep. Before he could argue, I slid my arms under his and pulled him up. He stumbled, swore under his breath, and his head briefly dropped on my shoulder. The second his forehead touched my skin, his breath stuttered, but he didn't move away. His weight leaned against me, unwillingly, reluctantly, but not resisting. I dragged him inside, closing the gate behind us with difficulty. He grunted whenever I adjusted my hold, jaw locked tight, like he had rather chew iron than admit pain. Inside the hallway, the warm light washed over his face. His skin was pale, lips slightly parted, chest rising unevenly, and his eyes still glared at me but softer now, like his hatred was slipping and something else was surfacing. I guess I guided him to the sofa. He dropped on it heavily, one hand gripping the edge like he had fallen apart otherwise. I ran to grab the first aid kit. When I came back, he was staring at the ceiling, jaw clenched, body shaking in tiny controlled tremors. For the first time in months, he looked human, breakable, real. Lift your hoodie. I knelt in front of him, opening the kit. He didn't move. Cook, I said gently. Let me see. His eyes flickered down to mine. They weren't just angry anymore. They were searching, almost like he was asking himself why I was doing this. Slowly, painfully, he lifted the fabric. My breath caught. A bruise spread across his lips, dark and purple. A cut ran along his side, deep enough to scare me, not deep enough for the hospital. What happened to you? I whispered. His lip curled. None of your business. You came to my house bleeding. Coincidence, he muttered. I reached for the disinfectant. He flinched so hard, his hand grabbing my wrist. Don't. I have to clean it. It stinks. Cook. My voice softened without permission. Be still. His finger loosened around my wrist, his hand slipping down slowly until it rested on his thigh, not moving but not fighting. I pressed the cotton gently to his warmth. He hissed, jaw clenching, so tight a vein appeared on his neck. Sorry, I whispered. Just do it. He breathed it out, voice low and shaky. I continued slowly, carefully, explaining each step, even though he pretended not to listen. But each time my fingers brushed his skin, accidentally his breath itched. And each time his breath itched, my heart did too. This was the same cook who once shoved me against a wall in the dark, beating against my neck, whispering, "You drive me insane." The same cook who I slapped in front of everyone, yet right now he looked at me like he didn't know whether to push me away or pull me closer. My hands trembled when I wrapped the bandage around him. His skin was warm beneath my fingers, muscles tense, his breath brushing my shoulders every time he exhaled. He watched me the whole time, silently, unblinking, distractingly. When I finished, I stepped back, releasing the shaky there, done. He didn't speak, he just looked at me like he was memorizing something. Then slowly, his gaze dropped, trailing from my eyes to my throat, to my hands and further down. My skin burned instantly. "Stop staring," I muttered. He didn't. His voice came out low, ragged. "You're wearing work clothes." It wasn't a question, it wasn't an insult. It was something else, something heavy. "You're bleeding and this is what you notice?" I snapped. His lip twitched, not a quiet smile, not quite anger, something in between. "Distracting," he murmured. My heart stopped. "Who?" He blinked slowly like he was pulling himself back from wherever his mind has drifted. "Don't read on it. Don't read into it." "I'm not." He tilted his head. "Good. Because if I did, I had imagined too much." The room went silent, thick with something unnamed. He shifted, groaning from pain. I moved, instantly steadying him. His fingers brushed my forearm again, a feather-light touch, but intentional. I swallowed. "You should rest," I whispered. "You can't take the test." "No." His refusal came sharp, immediate. "You are hurt," I argued. "You need a bed." I said no. His eyes locked into mine, a silent clash. "I don't need your kindness." My jaw clenched. "You are getting it anyway." He stared long and hard. Then his shoulder dropped, just slightly, just enough. "Fine." That was how I ended up supporting him again, walking him to the guest room while his gaze burned holes into my back. But the moment I laid on him on the bed and stepped away, he grabbed my wrist, not hard, not threatening, just stopping me. His eyes weren't angry now, they were something I couldn't name. "Why are you helping me?" he whispered. The question pierced deeper than his warmth. I could have said I didn't know. I could have lied, but instead I looked at him, really looked, and said the first truth that rose to my lips. "Because someone has to." His finger loosened slowly, sliding off my skin like he didn't want to let go. For one breath, 1 second, the world passed. And under the dim yellow light, with his hair a mess and his eyes half open, he looked at me like I wasn't his enemy anymore, just someone he couldn't stop looking at. I stepped back, he didn't stop me again. The door clicked shut behind me, but my heartbeat didn't come, not even a little. The way he watches me while I cook. The house was silent, but my pulse wasn't. Even after shutting the guest room door on cook, the ghost of his touch lingered on my wrist, warm, heavy, impossible to shake off. I told myself it was just adrenaline from helping an injured person, but my heart knew better. I moved to the kitchen to clear my head. The moment the overhead lights flickered on, the soft yellow glow filled the small space with a warmth I desperately needed. I changed out my work clothes earlier, slipping into softer, looser, long wear, just an old, oversized t-shirt and shorts that brushed my mid-thigh. I didn't even think about him seeing me in it. Why would I? He was supposed to be asleep, tired, hurt, needing rest, not staring. I signed and tied my hair up, rummaging for ingredients. Cooking always calmed me, grounded me. After the chaos outside and the storm inside my head, I needed grounding, something simple, something normal. Cook being in my house was not normal, not even close. I placed the pot on the stove, pouring water in it. My hands were steady now, the familiar motions easing tension out of my shoulders. The quiet bubble of boiling water soon filled the kitchen, blending with the soft hum of the refrigerator. It felt peaceful, almost too peaceful. Then I felt it, a presence before a sound, a weight in the air that didn't belong there. I froze, slowly turning my head, and there he was, leaning heavily against the door frame, one hand gripping the wall for balance, his hoodie half off his shoulder, exposing the fresh bandage I wrapped around his ribs. His hair was still messy, framing his eyes dark, low-lidded, too sharp for someone who should have been asleep. 𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗏, what are you doing here? I told you to rest. I couldn't. His voice was gravel, low and rough from pain or something else. And it's my house too now, apparently. He tried to smile. It came out through retired. I stepped toward him automatically. 𝗀𝗵𝗲, you can't be walking around. You'll tear the stitches. I don't have stitches, he muttered. You will if you keep acting tough. He watched me walk closer, watched my hands reach for his arm, watched my worry betray itself. And his eyes dipped down, my t-shirt, my shorts, my bare legs, my throat. Every part of me he scanned, slow, too slow for someone supposedly in pain. I tugged him gently back toward the hallway. Come on, you need to lie down. But he didn't move. In fact, he braced one hand stronger against the wall. You're cooking. Yeah, for me. His eyebrow lifted, not mocking, but curious in a way that made my chest tighten. No, I mean, yes, you need food, so I'm making some. His eyes didn't soften, they darkened. You have never cooked for me before, he said, voice dropping like a stone. You have also never bled at my doorstep before. I snapped back quietly. His jaw clenched like he wasn't expecting my honesty, or maybe he was expecting me to avoid the raw truth hanging between us. I placed his hand on my shoulder again, guiding himself carefully. This time he didn't resist. He leaned into me, letting more weight fall than I knew he meant to. His breath brushed my ear as we walked, warm, distracted. Sit, I said, pulling a chair out for him near the counter. He lowered himself slowly, chest rising with controlled plane. When he finally sat, he let out the breath he had been holding. His eyes closed for a moment and then opened, straight at me. It wasn't anger now, it wasn't hatred. It was something that made my stomach drop. Something that shouldn't be there at midnight after everything that happened between us. Something heated, something dangerous. He watched me go back to the spot. I could feel his gaze on my back, hot, lingering, like he was tracing every line of my body with his eyes. My skin prickled under his attention, addictive rock magnet. I stirred the noodles, pretending not to notice, but I felt it like his eyes and hands, dragging, exploring, testing, waiting. I exhaled, trying to sound unaffected. Stop staring. I'm not. He lied instantly. His voice was too low to be innocent. You are. No, he murmured. I'm observant. Cook, I want. He hummed softly, amused. You changed. I stiffened. Obviously, my work clothes were. No, his voice dipped deeper. You changed for the night. Comfortable clothes. My hand froze mid-hair. I didn't turn around. He continued, slow like he was peeling back a layer on purpose. You're comfortable here. I bit the inside of my cheek. This is my house, of course. I'm comfortable. You weren't comfortable when I came in bleeding. That's different, is it? His chair creaked as she shifted. Or is it just me who makes you tense? My heartbeat gave the answer. I refused to speak. I plated the food moments a little too precise. When I placed the bowl in front of him, he didn't look at the food. He looked at my hand, just my hand, as if my fingers themselves were the thing he wanted to touch. Cook, I whispered, stepping back. Eat. His eyes finally broke from his skin to the bowl. He picked up the spoon, moving slowly, every motion measured, either from pain or from the way he knew I was watching him now too. He took a bite and still. What? I frowned. Is it bad? He swallowed, licking his lower lip unconsciously. It's good. Good? I crossed my arms. That's all you can say? He met my eyes, a real smirk forming, sharp, even though exhaustion. You want praise? I want honesty. Honesty? His smirk softened into something gentler. It tastes like you care. My breath caught. His words didn't sound like flirt. They sounded like an accidental thought. Look, Don't deny it, he murmured before I could finish. You are here cooking for the guy you slapped in front of half of the neighborhood. He rushed to my cheeks. You deserve that slap. He took another slow bite. Probably, I stared at him. His eyes locked on mine, deep and steady. I deserved worse. The way he said it, quite accepting, made something twist painfully in my chest. I stepped away, breaking the tension, just eat and go to bed after. He obeyed, but not quietly. The more he ate, the more he watched me move around the kitchen. Not like I was an enemy, not like I was someone he hated, like I was someone he couldn't look away from. Every time I reached for something, his gaze followed. Every time my hair fell to my shoulder, his fingers twitched like he wanted to push it back. Every time my shirt slid off one side slightly, his jaw tightened. It wasn't expressive, but it was intimate. So intimate, I had to hold the counter for grounding. When he finished, he leaned back in the chair, breathed steady. Thank you. The words were simple, but coming from him, they felt like he handed me something vulnerable. You're welcome, I said softly. Silence stretched, but this silence wasn't uncomfortable. It was heavy with something unspoken. He finally sighed, wincing. Help me back. I moved to his side, ready to support him, but when his arm wrapped over my shoulder, this time, he let his fingers linger. Just a second too long, just enough for my breath to break. This wasn't the cold enemy I slapped months ago. This was someone slowly letting his walls crack, dangerously close to showing what he really felt underneath. And I helped him walk back to the guest room. I wasn't sure when I was sleeping, helping him stay steady or keeping myself from falling. The guest room wall. I made your bed, I said quietly, moving toward the guest room door. He didn't move, didn't even blink. He just stared at me with that look again, dark, unreadable, simmering with something I couldn't name without trembling inside. His voice came out low. I'm not sleeping there. He exhaled sharply. You can barely walk. You're not sleeping on my couch. He jaw clenched. I didn't say I wanted the couch. I felt my heartbeat misfire. I turned my face away, pretending I didn't hear the meaning behind those words. No, I muttered, stepping closer to him. Not happening. He raised his head slowly. His eyes lifted to mine, dragging up my body like he was deliberately testing my patience. Heat crawled under my skin, the kind that made me want to move away but also pull me closer. Cook, I want, he murmured. Why do you even care? The question hit sharper than I expected. I didn't answer. I just walked over and hooked his uninjured arm over my shoulder. You're going to the guest room, I said firmly. He didn't resist, but he didn't help either. He let me drag him up like I was the one determined to fight this battle for him. His face was so close now that I could feel each slow exhale brushing the side of my neck. The warmth of him, it made my breath catch in my throat. He smirked under his breath, clearly noticing. Your hands are shaking, he whispered near my ear. They are not, I muttered instantly, even though they were. His weight leaned into me as we walked, and every step felt like a silent walk. It smelled warm, clean, familiar, too familiar. I kept my eyes forward, but his gaze never left my face, not once. When we reached the guest room, he leaned against the door frame and stared directly at me. I don't need a separate room, he said, his tone soft but firm, not demanding, not arrogant, just honest in a way that cracked something inside my chest. I swallowed hard. You're staying here. His eyes lowered slightly, scanning my face with slow precision, like he was reading every flicker of emotion I couldn't hide fast enough. You're scared of something? He said quietly. My pulse jumped. I'm not scared, I argued. I just need space. His lip curved, slow, sharp, and mean. You want space from me? I opened my mouth to give him some strong reply, but nothing came out. My stupid heart beat faster under his stare. Finally, I pushed him gently inside. Sleep, I said, avoiding his gaze. He grabbed the edge of the door to steady himself, his jaw tightening from the pain, yet his eyes softened only for a second. You don't even realize, he whispered, how hard it is for me to look away from you. I froze. My fingers tightened around the door. That sentence hit deeper than anything he said the entire night. Before I could reply, before I could even breathe right, he took one step closer, not touching me, just close enough that the air between us shifted into something thick and warm. Good night, he murmured, voice low enough to unravel me. I shut the door quickly. Before he saw my face turn hot, my chest felt tight as I leaned against a cold wood, trying to breathe normally. But even though the door, I could feel his presence, his gaze, his heat, his stubborn refusal to stay distant from me. I closed my eyes. His words echoed again. You don't even realize how hard it is for me to look away from you. I didn't sleep for a long time, and the worst part, I kept listening for the sound of him moving on the other side of the door.